What are the best practices for avoiding and resolving bucket issues? Can we manually schedule bucket rebuild to increase search performance?
Yes, it's better to actually share my screen here.
Yeah.
I'm going to share my screen. By the way, I was just talking about this one. So try to add your app.conf here under the SH clustering stanza. If you have this and under your app, which is my app was test here. So add this and deploy it. It'll get pushed and all your changes get reflected on the search hits. And let's go back to the index clustering. Okay, so this is my indexer clustering. This is my favorite page because I always want to make sure all these are green if you're maintaining an enterprise environment on-prem. Sometimes you might not see both of them not green. It's okay because it could be in a maintenance mode and all that. So going back to the buckets, there are three types of buckets as of I know because we have corrupt buckets, frozen buckets, and stuck buckets. We'll have to figure out, what's the issue. Typically, when you see a replication factor or search factor is not met, I personally get onto this page called bucket status. Here, you see lots of fix-up tasks pending. Whenever the cluster manager is restarting, you should see lots of buckets here happening, moving around, hot to warm, warm to cold. But when you see these are stuck, whenever the buckets are not rolling from hot to warm, that's when you have to manually do it. Uh, the situation happens whenever an indexer went to stale mode, or whenever during an upgrade window, it might take longer to complete, or during the maintenances, or suddenly your cluster manager might be down. That's when it can happen too. So there are lots of situations like that during the maintenance activities. That's when you're going to see this. And indexes with excess buckets. Sometimes you might also see this. Try to remove all the excess buckets. It'll give some room. But overall, this is the page. And once you see the buckets here, either you could do it on the UI, you can roll it hot to warm. Typically, that's the process. And if you wanted to troubleshoot more, I personally love troubleshooting why it's happened rather than directly rolling it away. Because if it's the first time, try to make sure what you're doing. Whenever you have an issue on the buckets, try to involve support as soon as possible because doing the right thing is important here rather than doing just reviewing the documentation and all that because sometimes the issue might be small, sometimes it might be big. So it's better to reach out to support and involve them as soon as possible because we have support. They can jump on a call as soon as possible if it's a production P1. So that's one thing. And then the process is simple. There should be a UI component here. And then eventually on my slide, I have error messages on how the correct error message looks like. So try to schedule an alert or a schedule search whenever that happens. Try to monitor those so that that won't happen in the future. And yeah, once you roll the bucket from hot to warm, you just need to sync between the peer and the manager, which is a cluster manager. So the process should be simple. And deleting the copy of the bucket is the last resort. So do not do that. As I said, try to involve support whenever you have this issue. We have lots of experts helping around that issues. And this continuation question for that, I see about rebuilding data would improve the search performance. It would not. I think if the question they are asking about the data rebalance, this is where you go. Typically, you should see this over here. But imbalanced data increases likelihood of one or more peers will run out of disk space. That's the uh, catch we have. Typically, I've seen that whenever you're trying to add a new indexer or whenever you're trying to change the infrastructure, that's when you see that, or during the major upgrades. But other than that, I haven't seen that. but doing that will not improve the search performance. It'll make the indexers better, but not the search performance. And yeah, I think we can get on to the next question if we don't have any questions.
Yeah, Tyler, did you have your hand raised or was that a?
I did. I would just say I've been in some really hairy situations with buckets in the past. Do contact support, but also don't panic yet when you do see stuff. Panic a little, but not
Yeah.
wholly. If you have a Splunk enterprise environment, do try and check your monitor, your cluster master every day and the monitoring console. Come into like the bucket pages specifically. Check your SF and RF and come into the bucket status pages. Sometimes it's not so much that you're looking for every little change that happens, but sometimes you get lucky and you can get in there. If there's no issues, you can still see a bucket rotating or something, and you can at least get an idea of that's what it looks like. That's about how long it takes. And it varies from stack to stack depending on how much data you ingest. Buckets grow and the size of the buckets changes, and therefore the how long something can be sitting in a pending state for an action to finish can be a really long time depending on your stack. So try and get a feel for it by just looking at it on a daily basis.
All right, and I'm assuming this was just here for reference afterwards.
Yep.
Okay.
Those are the curl commands where we can look at the fix subtasks, and then that rest command will actually give you the list of indexers, the buckets they reside on, because based on the search and replication factor, the buckets will reside on those indexers. So that will give you that.
Want to sign up for a future community office hours? From community.splunk.com, select events, then Office Hours Ask the Experts to register for a session across platform, security, or observability. Hope to see you in the next one.